Democrats and liberals are not happy after Megyn Kelly has finally declared she is all in for Donald J. Trump.
Talking about President Trump, 78 years old, independently wealthy, though they're trying to stop that too, as I pointed out. And he's been through the ringer, my God, before tonight, he's been through the ringer for this country over the past 8-9 years. You know, he was the host of the #1 television program in America. The Apprentice was crushing it. And he was the reason. As soon as they tried to use another host, it went down the tubes. He could have just stayed doing that. He was beloved. He wasn't as controversial. He didn't have to get into politics, but he did. And he's stayed in politics. He's been president. Why would he run again? Just, right? Like, who would do such a thing? Just go back to your private life and your beautiful wife and your children, and your grandchildren, and your golf courses. Why put yourself through this? Why continue engaging with these people who hate you and want to destroy you? And you know it. That was the final question of my interview with Trump in September. And here's what he said.
Before I hear what he said, I want to tell you what I think the reason is. I think Donald Trump was sent here for a divine purpose, to give Americans hope again, to believe that the American dream is still possible. And also, he is sick and tired of what Washington, D.C. has been doing for decades and decades and decades, screwing over the American people at every turn. And he's watching this and he said, you know what? I've had enough. I want to make sure the America that I know is still here for my kids and my grandkids.
You're enjoying this beautiful golf course,
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago, your lovely family.
No.
You don't have to be running for president, sitting for 4 criminal trials, some civil, and possibly looking at jail time.
No.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. Make America great again. Our country's going to hell. Our country's going down. You don't realize it. I don't believe you realize it, but our country's going down. Our country, and I used to say we're going to end up being, if we don't do certain things, we're going to end up being Venezuela on steroids. How about we're buying oil now from Venezuela? How about that? We're making Venezuela rich. Okay, think of it. The people running Venezuela, which were total enemies, what we're doing is so crazy. We're not using our oil. We're making Venezuela rich. But the country, I believe, has one last chance, and that's this. This is the most important election we've ever had.
I believe Donald Trump genuinely loves his country, not just himself, as his detractors say. I believe that's why he is running again, despite all of it, all the things that have happened to him. He doesn't deserve what the left has done to him, and he certainly didn't deserve what happened to him today. And the people who love him, who saw the magic in his message, in his persona, and responded to the way he made them feel, which was seen and heard for the first time in decades. Someone who, though he had become of the elites, rejected elitism and said to the men and women of Appalachia, I get it. I see you. I see what happened to your manufacturing jobs, and I'll fight for you. I'll stand up to China. I'm not going to lean into the free trade thing. I'm going to talk about possible tariffs. I'm going to do some radical things that President Biden would wind up continuing, though he criticized Trump mightily for them at the time.
It's so wild because the Democrats and a lot of these people like to consider Donald Trump an elitist and he only supports the mega rich, when in reality, it's the mega rich who hate him most. It's the working class Americans who love Donald Trump because he's the only person in Washington, D.C. in decades that is actually standing up for them. So although Donald Trump is independently wealthy, he's a billionaire, I truly believe he's like a working class American at heart.
This guy was different. That's why they surprised everybody. They shocked the world in November of 2016 and put him in office and remained that loyal to him ever since. Is he a perfect man? No. Was he a perfect president? No. Is he guilty of rhetoric that can be controversial? Of course. We know these things about President Trump. But he's a special man. There's not a lot of guys like this. Not a lot of human beings like this with that kind of strength and resilience and ability literally under fire to stand up and say, fight. It was inspirational. I believe President Trump is going to win in November. I've previously disclosed he will have my vote. And I am now one of the people who will walk over broken glass to make sure I cast my vote. And I know I won't be alone. I think now you are going to see formerly blue states rush to pull the lever for Donald Trump. I thought it was bad before tonight. And I think my fellow Americans will understand how important it is to send a message loud and clear to the people who want to change our country that we won't allow it, that we are not going to lose sight of one another. We're not going to continue trying to ruin each other, end each other. That's not how we want to live, that we will find our way back to one another. Tens of thousands of people showed up tonight in Butler, Pennsylvania to show their support for a presidential candidate, and some maybe just to listen to him. The kids don't know. They just wanted to see the former president. It's a uniquely American thing, the way we do things in this country, and he's such a character. Maybe they just wanted to go for the fun, or because they wanted to hear what he had to say, the way I do with my kids. Or I say, listen to this speech. What do you think? Let's get a glimpse of him. What did you hear? What's your reaction? They showed up and they ran for their lives instead in Butler, Pennsylvania. And after Mr. Trump was removed in the Beast and two of his most ardent fans were shot dead or within an inch of their life, the American flag still waved. The remnants at the site, bottles and so on, scattered the ground. And yet, much like 9/11, after it was all over, the American flag still waved over a now empty area. That's what it's all about. Our flag was still there. We're still there. We're still with each other. I just said this on July 4th. We are so lucky to have been born in this country. We hit the lottery. Our patriotism must be reignited for America. And yes, our understanding that there's humanity on both sides.
That is the key thing in this spiritual battle that we are fighting. They want us to lose faith in our country. They want us to be ashamed of being an American, when in reality, being an American is one of our greatest strengths, because we are the nation of underdogs, the people who stood up to tyranny and said that's enough. Instead of being ruled by a king, how about we enact a constitutional republic and a democracy so that way the people are the ones with the power instead of the elite few? American values at its core stand for everything that is good in the world. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We cannot let these people tell us that it's bad to be an American. Whenever I would go on social media, I would see young people nowadays saying, oh, America's bad. I hate being an American. When in reality, if you knew what the world was like in many other countries, you would be begging to be an American. Being an American is a privilege, and it is one of my greatest honors. And I believe in this next election, it is a battle for pro-America versus the destruction of America. And that is why I am all in for Donald J. Trump. I think he is the only person who can bring us back to our previous glory and the prosperity that we once had. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. I'd love to hear them. And also, when do you think American politicians stopped working in the best interest of its constituents? I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.